Get started.
All right, we're live. I think this is podcast 36. I was mid-sentence of asking David about that and failed to get it in before we actually started. So last minute changes of where we shot this, and so David had to be in and out here, but we're planning on shooting in the living room, but have a new family member that won't stop yelping. So we had to change it into here. I started a new intro last week. And I want to kind of carry that over to you guys. It's a surprise thing. I didn't tell you all that. But just like some general questions. I don't think I have to ask you guys if you believe in aliens, which is one of the questions I asked Brett and Brian last week or week before last. So I'm going to skip over that one. But if you could only watch one sport for the rest of your life, what sport would it be?
Oh, I think it hands down be. Well, I don't know. Hands down, that's. I think it'd be the NFL. I mean, I really love the NFL.
I figured that was probably your answer.
Yeah. It's either NFL or college basketball. But college basketball is not really competitive enough to watch for the rest of your life. I wouldn't think. So I really like the NFL. So I'd have to go there.
What about you?
It's really hard. I love baseball. I love just sitting out.
Baseball.
I love just sitting outside watching baseball or listening to it on the radio. It's awesome. But I really love football. I watch like you all, just sitting, love watching the games and stuff. It's gonna be a hard one for me. I love NBA too, and the NBA is you got the best athletes in the world playing, and it's pretty cool. Like I said, I watched Wimbledon a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked by that.
Yeah, I never watched tennis.
Yeah.
And it was like the best thing I ever watched. It was by far it was probably the second best sporting event I watched in forever.
I feel like you're dragging feet here.
I'm gonna go with NBA.
Really?
That's surprised
NBA?
I thought for sure it'd be baseball.
Yeah.
So I think.
Love baseball though. It's hard.
Yeah, I think
You
baseball
don't
would
like
be.
baseball?
I'd rather watch golf, volleyball,
Golf is my
tennis.
Golf and baseball are my standby nap.
Yeah, because you can relax and just chill out.
It's like ambient noise.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah,
I think baseball is probably one of the better sports to go see live. But watching it at home, is just,
right.
or even listening to it on the radio, you might as well be listening to.
I love listening to it on the radio.
Oh, that is just.
You learn so much more about different details of the sport, different details about the player. Listen to it on the radio. Marty Brennaman's my favorite person ever. His last game's coming up.
I was gonna say it's the Reds, right?
Yeah.
I don't do anything live anymore. So I don't remember the last time I went to a baseball game. I don't remember the last time I went to a concert. Nothing.
I went to my first NFL football game this past year.
Oh, you didn't even extend an invite or anything.
Well, I'm probably going to go to another one this year, so I'll definitely.
Where's this one going to be?
I want to go see Indy play.
Yeah.
I really want to see him.
They have a really good shot of winning the Super Bowl this year.
I hope so. I hope Luck has a good year. I've got him he's on my team.
I'm excited.
So.
Yeah. It's good. Football's coming up.
We definitely need to work that out because we could save on hotel money because I could just come back and stay at your house.
Well, it's just like a 2-hour drive.
Yeah, because it's 4 hours for me. Which
definitely.
After a game, everything be pushing.
Absolutely.
But 2 hours, I could ride back. And
without a doubt.
I went up there and saw a Colts game. The same year, I went up there and saw a Pacers game, which I was trying to see Kobe before he retired.
Yeah.
And Kobe came down and played one play and then was out. So it was a game before he tore his Achilles. So he had hurt his knee in Atlanta the night before.
Yeah.
So
you did the same thing going to see Iverson at the Big Three too, didn't you?
Yep, same thing. See Iverson got arrested or whatever right before, or didn't go to show practice or something stupid. So
I didn't know Iverson was in the Big Three.
Yeah, for the first year.
He only played a few games, right?
So this is
3 or 4 games.
Is this her second year? Or
this is their third year.
I thought so.
I didn't even watch one game last year. So.
It's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, I watched 2 games yesterday. Mike Gibby was playing one yesterday.
I mean, it's not bad. I just don't. The level of sports that I actually watch has just fell off so much. I mean, you kind of got a glimpse into my life, what I'm doing right now, which is kind of weird. I never thought I'd be there, but I'm watching Brian Shaw on YouTube. He's 4 times world's strongest man. I'm just absolutely obsessed with watching what he eats and what he lifts. I can't do it. I never have any aspirations of doing it.
We're come here next time. He's gonna be dragging a car up the hill.
Yeah.
Killen's gonna have chains on him.
Hold on, I can't make it all the way up. Shoot some steroids, dude. All right, so another question in the same line, and I'm going to ask David this one first because I'm really interested to see what his answer is. But if you could only, I asked this to Brett, if you could only listen to one genre of music for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, that's hard because I listen to everything.
He does.
I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of Stevie Wonder lately. That's my new thing. I never really listened to it before. It's
Oh,
awesome.
nice.
Yeah.
So Stevie Wonder as the artist?
Right now, but it would probably change, man. I don't know. Like, I would say I'd still love country music. I've always loved country music a lot, too. But I don't really like a lot of the modern, like radio country. That's close. Actually, I'd probably just say I'm going to go with classic rock just because it's a broad spectrum. That's what I'm going to say.
See, I think classic rock is probably the one that like, I wouldn't necessarily go to, but like if you're saying like lifetime, then yeah, because it's I don't know. Classic rock has a lot of deep meaning to it, but I'm with Dave. I listen to everything. I listen to everything from rock, rap, country,
now
older country like 70s, 80s.
They're kind of
a little some early 90s.
They're bumping like 80s rock into classic rock now. So you have the Vietnam era of 60s and 70s, and now you got 80s kind of being bumped into that classic rock. So, you know, you're talking about a 20-year gap of classic rock that you can listen to. So I think
I'll narrow it down to like the 70s.
To directly to the 70s.
Yeah.
Some of those, some of the songs about Vietnam and everything is really, you know, I wouldn't say it hits home, but I mean, it's like I just love songs with deep meaning.
I mean,
And
if you haven't cruised down, if you're an American and you haven't cruised with your windows down to Fortunate Son, then I don't know what you're doing.
I do that in my Jeep.
Yeah.
It's like windows down. I'm like, yeah,
I love
Made in
that.
America,
that's
man.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
When I was like dead asleep one morning, and it's a terrible habit, and you guys can fuss with me, that's fine. But usually when I wake up, I'll just turn on social media because there's always like news stories. Like I found out about all the shootings this weekend and everything through social media. But the new thing I've been doing is watching people's stories, and I was scrolling through and Black Rifle Coffee had one up, and I clicked on it, and it was like a dude in a helicopter door with a minigun, and it starts out down and then you hear and I was like, I'm up, let's go, I'm ready to get this day going. That's all I need to get up out of bed that day. But yeah, I think that's a pretty strong genre to stick with. What about artists? If you can only listen to one artist?
I don't think that. I think I would probably not listen to music at all if I had to only listen to one artist. I don't think I could do it. But if I did, I'd probably be like Sturgill Simpson. I really like him. I like his. Like I said, you know, going back to songs with meaning. You know,
The Call to Arms, man. That's like one of the best songs.
Like it gives me the cold chills.
It's got the brass band, the guitar solos. That's like one of the best songs ever.
You guys gonna kiss now?
Yeah.
You know, he's in a movie coming out. Do you see that?
The zombie movie?
No, it's actually called. It's about where they're being hunted.
Oh, look, is it like the one like the Hunger Games or not Hunger Games, but
Kind of something like that.
The Purge. It's like the Purge game. It's made by the same people.
There's two of
Is
them
that
coming
right?
out though. Is it the one with the bride where they're hunting the bride, or is it the one that they're
The people like show up and they're
they
like,
got
No.
gags in their mouth and all that stuff?
Yeah, they have gags in their mouth where it's like I guess these rich people have like captured these people and
It's,
like put
it's
them-
essentially like the
One was Stone
deadliest
Cold.
game.
or the one with Stone Cold that was awesome. What was that called? Like the Island or something?
I stopped watching Stone Cold movies like 20 years ago.
Right?
It was like his
After
first
the- After
movie.
The Longest Yard, I was like,
I didn't know he was still a thing.
what? I mean, he's got a show coming out.
See, that was Stone Cold. That was after I'd stopped watching wrestling. My
But
guys were.
he like exceeds or goes beyond like just like regular pop culture just because of who he is. He's got a podcast now.
Yeah, I get it, but
He's
but
America's
I
badass uncle.
Yeah.
I get it, but like I said, that wasn't a thing. You know, right around the time I wasn't paying
Oh,
attention
yeah,
to WWE.
So is your
WWF? back in the day.
your artist will be Sturgill Simpson too then?
Almost, I don't know. I'd say Tom Petty. But
Tom Petty's a good one.
Sturgill Simpson, I saw him live like a couple years ago. He hadn't been like really back up through here in a while, but it was badass. Like you're saying, it's just all the music he blends in together too. It's not it's like genreless. It was like his first CDs like country,
Yep.
and then the last one came out a couple years ago. It's just a mixture of everything. It's so
that,
good.
The modern sounds of country music.
Yeah.
That album that was just mind blowing. I really love that album. That entire album. Well, maybe one or two songs, or but I could listen to that album probably, forever.
I need more
Good
anger
stuff.
in my music. I was telling him yesterday because Sturgill Simpson produced the Tyler Childers album that came out yesterday. It's
I
just
need
like
to check that out.
it's
I've
pretty
never-
lovey-dovey, and I'm like, man, I kind of miss the cocaine and pills Tyler Childers.
He's got that one about the song Matthew on it. Did you listen to that
I
one?
listened to that one.
Oh, it's pretty good.
I listened to like 4 or 5 of them, and they were all pretty lovey-dovey. And I had, been listening to House Fire and All Yorn for a while.
Those are good songs too.
Yeah, they're good songs, but like I said, I need something with a little edge to it.
I like Little Anger. I do like Little Edge, but
He
I
just-
have to understand and connect.
He just really embodied everything with Eastern Kentucky. Like, he had a song about his dad and keeping his nose to the grindstone. My dad used to say that to me all the time. And it was essentially about keeping his nose out of pills, and that's an Eastern Kentucky problem. So I can really relate to that type of stuff, and I really enjoyed him bringing that to light and what he did. So
yeah. I need to check him out. I've not really listened to any of his stuff.
Should.
Yeah,
I would definitely recommend starting with his old stuff. But if you like Sergio Simpson, you might want to start with the new stuff. I don't know.
It took a little bit. I didn't like it
their
at
own.
first. I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't a big fan. And then it's kind of something that grew on to me, and I liked it a lot later.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about his new album?
All of it.
Okay,
I didn't really get it.
I knew we had talked about it before, and you didn't really up on it.
I think I'm like that with all music. It just takes a while to grow on me. Like,
Yeah.
I remember when Outkast came out back when I was in high school. I was like, man, I don't like these guys. But then, I started listening to them. I was like, man, these, I really dug it.
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite rap groups now of all time.
Well, what's your greatest band of all time?
Ooh, that's tough. Like greatest band of all time.
Brand, artist, whatever, doesn't matter. You can pick anybody.
I'm probably biased to what I listen to now versus what I listen to.
I mean, that doesn't matter.
So.
That's just your pick, though.
Yeah.
I've really changed my views on it a lot, and I think Queen is my greatest band of all time. I mean,
they are one of the greatest bands of all time. I wouldn't say I listen to anything like their albums back to back like I would like a Metallica album. I know a lot of Metallica songs that never made the radio. Like I don't know any Queen songs that never made the radio. Like I only know what's been pushed out. You know?
Yeah.
Like so, I would
there's
say,
a ton of them though.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
I'm sure of it. Just
Not a big Queen guy, but I can see where it's so well produced, and you listen to it, it sounds so good on headphones. And if you listen to headphones, it sounds so good. Just not a huge Queen fan though, but it's pretty good. Good music.
I just wonder if there could ever be any consensus on this podcast with who everybody thinks the greatest band. of all time.
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers is the best band ever.
Now, see, I don't think there'll ever be a consistency in music taste because that's what makes it so great.
I've just heard forever and ever Beatles greatest band, and I'm like, oh, it just turns my stomach. Like
You don't like any of the Beatles stuff?
Very, very little. Very little.
There's a lot of it's really. I love the solo stuff, like John Lennon's solo stuff afterwards, and Paul McCartney's '70s era solo stuff. I love that.
Yeah.
George Harrison, good. But I'm like you. I'm the Beatles itself. I guess maybe because it wasn't new to us, it was new to older people.
I bought the Beatles #1 album, and I tried so hard. I mean, I even take a little something to drink or something before just to try to mellow myself out.
Yeah.
I can't get into it, man.
Yeah.
It's like watching. Everybody's like, oh, you gotta watch this show, you gotta watch that show. Yeah, it's a good show, but like Breaking Bad and all those shows just made it to the next level to me because it's real and it's a little bit edge to it. Like I can't be listening to stuff or watching stuff that doesn't have a little edge to it.
Hey Jude's one of the best songs ever made. The love that song.
I don't mind Hey Jude, and I think it's that little Asian baby that brought it to my.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Hey Jude. So are you gonna answer, man? He said Tom Petty. I got Queen.
I don't know. I would say Metallica.
Okay, I can
as a
dig
default,
Metallica.
honestly.
I could listen to Metallica all day, every day.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you said the greatest band, so I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, band, artist, whatever.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will say Michael Jackson, and back in the day, I might agree with you, but that the documentaries have really.
Well, when you say greatest band, I'm thinking of a band that has penetrated generations, not necessarily just that one particular generation. Like Aerosmith, 70s.
Yeah.
They probably fell off in the 80s a little bit, made it big into the 90s, and Steven Tyler's still out there today.
They kind of changed everything up in the 90s to.
Exactly, too. Yeah, and they succeeded. They had number one hits in probably 4 decades, and you really can't say that about a whole lot of bands.
I think that so many people right now artists have latched onto this, and they understand making love music, and that's what takes them to the next level. Like if you listen to you were saying radio country, people talk about Luke Combs all the time. He's got 5 #1s or something like that. First time since Johnny Cash has been done. And the first time I ever heard him, he was singing a song called "Can I Get an Outlaw?" I was like, man, this dude's got some edge to him. And now, you look at all the songs, these are all love songs. You figured out the game, you went to this, and now it's working for you.
Well, I don't think necessarily the charts, like you said, he has had 5 #1 songs, first time since what?
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash. But look at Old Town Road. just broke the number.
Right. I think it's different within the genres too.
Well, true, but I mean,
because you can make a rap song that makes no sense, but as long as it has a good beat, it has a good hook, people are going to listen to it over and over again and buy it. But with some of the other rock or country or whatever, you really have to narrow it down to a certain area, and it seems like country right now is just love songs, just pop country love songs. So
right. I wouldn't even call it country. I
don't know what it is, man. It's just depressing.
Well, I told you my theory on what ruined country music and who ruined country music.
Who's Garth Brooks?
Absolutely.
Hey, I saw Garth Brooks live, and it was awesome.
Well, I'll say this now.
But he still had a little edge to him, though.
Well, he was the pinnacle. And he was good. Yeah. It was just everybody that came after him tried to emulate him, and it just ruined country music.
I agree. But he's so good though live.
Oh,
I saw him and it was
you're like, I hate Garth Brooks, and David comes out and he's wearing a Garth Brooks shirt and he's got a cowboy hat on.
Well, he was probably, I think I've been to like 2 or 3 concerts, and he was my very first concert. It was awesome. He put on a great show. But
it was my first live album. You remember that Garth live double CD album?
And they had the special on HBO too.
Yeah, God, it was good.
I mean, he even had his own channel here, like in Louisville for a while until they,
He's like, hey, y'all, it's Garth and Trisha.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can still listen to Garth today, and I love Garth, but it's just everybody after him. Like, it was just terrible.
Him and Shania Twain too. She really took off like right after Garth too, and it was with the pop crossover. Yep. I know it's been like since country started. There's pop crossovers, but it seems like it's. To me, it's
a lot more prevalent.
Yeah.
What about if you had just one food that you had to eat forever? It can be. I know you don't eat fast food. It was going to be a fast food question. If you can only eat one fast food chain, but I know you don't eat that much. But if you could just eat one food, like even like a genre, like Italian or Mexican or whatever it would be, what would that be?
Oh, good question. I don't know. I'd probably just fruits. Like that would be my
What's your favorite fruit?
With my favorite fruit at the moment, it's probably
bananas because it makes them feel normal.
No, I'm not on a banana
lifestyle.
kick. Right now, it's strawberries and blueberries are like my go-to fruit. Yeah.
Do you put any sugar on them?
No added sugar. I'm on a try to cut out sugars and carbs at the moment.
You look skinny, and I'm over here wearing a 3X shirt, so I'll just transition away from this.
I'm wearing my medium, sucking my gut.
Medium caught on with you.
Medium.
I talked about it all morning. What about you, Dave?
Pizza.
Pizza.
Yeah, no doubt.
Not Italian in general, just pizza.
Just pizza, no doubt.
But you have to think about what it does. So you're going to eat this one food for the rest of your life. What are you going to look like in 10 years after eating this food?
Look like I've been eating pizza nonstop for 10 years now. It's like I gained like 60 pounds in the last few years.
We should put our genres down or whatever food that we would want to eat, and then do a week diet of it, and just put it all over social media.
Yeah, Megan.
I'm sorry, whatever that is really distracting right now.
Megan would not like me to eat pizza every day. She said no.
If I had a guilty pleasure and I didn't have the side effects of it, I could probably go with your.
But I've ate pizza the last 3 days too. I ate pizza last night, Friday. I think I ate it Thursday.
What are you, Ninja Turtle or something?
Yeah. Part Ninja Turtle.
So to kind of transition away to what our topic is today, we're going to talk about Aliens again. It's kind of the follow up to the original, and it was wildly popular, much more beyond what I thought it would be. And I think that has a lot to do with all this storm in Area 51, which we'll kind of talk about that in a second. Yeah. But I started getting some viewer submissions about their alien experiences and actually having contact with aliens. So I'm going to read one of those. But before I do that, I just thought I'd ask and see if you had any extraterrestrial experience.
No, I've never had an extraterrestrial.
Not even see anything in the sky.
Not even not even like a ghost encounter or anything like that.
That's not extraterrestrial.
Well, no, but I'm just saying anything out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Everything's just been
No Bigfoots, no Mothmans.
No Bigfoots.
I can't believe you haven't seen something in the sky that made you pause.
No.
No. I've seen all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, too. And they're usually satellites because you forget that. I always forget the satellites. There's billions of them out there just moving around.
Well, a lot of the things that I've seen have actually been in the daytime, and it's just been a shiny object that's moving super fast that might look a little bit weird, and I'm sure it's just the angle or whatever.
I was down the street on the bypass, and I saw this weird cylinder shape. It was a couple of days ago, and I was like, and it was like a Chinese lantern. I
Yeah,
think.
I was there. I knew exactly what you're gonna say. They
Yeah.
were letting them go from that little park over there.
Yeah.
Like adjacent from like where Taco Bell is.
Yeah, it was during the
Yeah.
daytime though. So
Yeah, I was like, what
You did
is
the
that?
same.
And Anna was in the car, and the girls were in the car, and they're like, what is that? And I was like, oh. And then the second one came up, and I was
You're
like,
like, it's happening.
They're really
and you're like straight down the road. Kids are screaming.
I jumped out of the car. I was like, everyone for this out. So nothing at all, man. That's a bummer.
No, nothing at all.
It's a bummer. Yeah, I mean, I've at least seen stuff in the sky that have made me go, what is that? Or, been out at night and seen some crazy stuff. But
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of shooting stars, just being like a hunter out there. So,
I can't say that I ever have.
you never seen a shooting star even?
Well, if you just sit out
Or
and
do you ever look up?
I do look up.
Let's rephrase
that's
this.
That's one of the things I like at night in the wintertime when it's the sky seems clearer in the wintertime. I love standing outside.
We should probably tell people though that you live in Louisville too, so you got like
I
a
live
lot
in
more
the
light
city.
pollution.
Yeah, I have a lot of light pollution. Yeah, it's terrible.
But it's like so awesome that like if you just sky watching and then like to see like more stars just pop up because your eyes are adjusting to it.
Absolutely.
And then at one point the whole sky is covered and you're like, it's an awesome feeling like that.
I'd love to go to a place to where you can actually see the Milky Way. Like that would just be like mind blowing to me.
Cool.
Yeah, just to be
Like
able to see
one of
it
the
with your own eyes.
observatories in Hawaii or California or something like that.
Well, not even just an observatory, but just like being out somewhere where there's no light
like
pollution.
the
Have you seen
Aurora
that?
Borealis.
Exactly.
Have you
Yeah.
seen the
Cool.
cameras that are actually able to like enhance the stars? So like you'll see
Yes.
all these pictures and they're like amazing.
Mhm.
Adam Greentree, who's on the Rogan podcast all the time, has one called First Man Image, and it's pretty cool.
I used to have this app and you could point it in the sky and it would point out.
Oh,
like
the
a map.
constellations.
Yeah,
Yep.
but it would you would just point it at it and it would
Yep.
tell you which stars or which
Yeah,
ones.
I got
and
one
that
of
was
those.
really cool.
It's almost kind
Yeah.
of creepy.
Sky
Yeah.
map. Yeah.
Yeah, Sky Map, that's what it was. It was awesome.
Mhm.
I need to re-download that.
Yeah.
Have you had any extraterrestrial encounters?
No, not really. No.
Uh-oh. That means yes.
Well, one time I saw something weird, but I was like,
Was it a
I was on
Chinese
another
lantern?
level, so I mean,
Oh,
it may
okay.
not have been anything. But no, I haven't seen anything real weird. Like I said, I like to sky watch because, like I said, once you start like focusing on the night sky, you start seeing all the shooting stars, and there's a lot more than you know when you're looking at it and stuff. And it's pretty neat. But I've never seen anything crazy.
So I haven't read this yet.
Okay.
I wanted my reaction to be just as genuine as your all's. So, anyways.
Let's hear it.
After listening to your latest podcast, I thought you may be interested in hearing about my own experience with the subject matter brought up on your show, which is Aliens Area 51, blah, blah, blah. There isn't much of a build-up to this story. It was a singular event, but the effects of what I witnessed had a tremendous impact on me throughout the years following. To the point that I would say that it's the single biggest influence on my worldview up to present day. Due to the nature of the event, I'll just go ahead and recount it. So, obviously, well-written intro,
Yep.
building suspense.
Getting right to the point.
When I was a child, I woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't sleep. I was still fairly young and often afraid at night, which I know this person and they're still afraid at night, so that's not a big deal to me. So I laid with my head under the covers and tried my best to get back to sleep. Unfortunately, it wasn't happening. After a while, it got uncomfortably hot and I worked up the courage to get out from underneath the comforter. Immediately, I saw something standing at the side of my bed. It was looking at me. Instead, it wasn't looking at me. Instead, it was slowly pivoting its head back and forth, looking around the room. Anything stick out so far? It seems like the typical encounter. A lot of nighttime.
Being inside the room.
What'd you say?
Is that what he said?
Is pivoting its head back and forth, looking around the room.
Yeah.
So
Like that's not something in the distance. I mean,
no,
that's,
this
yeah.
is like was it what is it? Something Encounters of the Fourth Kind or something.
Close Encounters.
Close Encounters. Yeah.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
That was a freaky movie
Yeah.
where like the people couldn't move and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so anyways, we'll go on here. The most accurate way to describe it would be to compare the typical look of an alien: round head and pointed chin, large and angular eyes that were black and dominated more than half its face. His skin looked smooth and hard, almost the texture of finely finished wood, but the color was streaky with shades of light gray. It wore a blue suit that nearly looked painted on, which is like your t-shirt. Similar to spandex, like your t-shirt. There was a red sash that went up from his shoulder to his hip. It also appeared to be tight and painted. His body was extremely thin but rigid, a slit for his nose and mouth. Anything else sticking out this far? Should I continue?
Very detailed.
Very detailed.
I mean, I don't think I can come up with that kind of level of detail.
Yeah, something from when you were a
any
child.
aspect of my life.
Yeah.
I guess that just shows you the impact that it had.
Exactly.
The terror I felt was immediate and it consumed me. I shook violently with fear and jumped back underneath the covers. There was literally a pool of sweat that collected beneath me in moments. I remember screaming internally to myself, but I couldn't stop shaking. I guess he was afraid that he would see that he was awake. I probably misread that, but anyways. It was the only thought that I had for minutes. My heart pounded ceaselessly into my head like a hammer. The fear was overwhelming, and it was difficult to relay in words. Its eyes and really its entire presence gave off what I can only describe as a vibe of primal fear and absolute evil. Looking back, I can imagine it would, similar to a barnyard mouse would be in its final moments with a poison snake. But nothing happened for what seemed like an hour. I'm not sure. My shaking slowly subsided, but then I went into a state that was similar to a dream. I was on a table and it was cold and metal. I looked to be in the center of a massive room, almost wallless, and only the table was lit. Everything outside of the perimeter was shrouded in darkness, and I was on my stomach. A different one approached me this time. His skin appeared to be more normal, and his color was more solid gray. He appeared to be more of an authority. His eyes were slightly smaller. He was taller. I don't remember his clothing. He bent down and gazed into my eyes. I tried not to move. There was a small ring of orange around his eyes, and it looked like pupils. He didn't talk, but I could feel his energy. It wasn't indifferent. It was one of control and malice. Staring into my eyes, he placed his hand on the temple of my head and pressed. The pressure increased and my head began to shake. I jumped out of my body and I saw us from above. It was like I was dying. It reached a peak and then I was instantly back in my bed. For years after the experience, I found it still dominating a large percentage of my thoughts. Every night I was afraid to truly understand the terror of witnessing such a thing. I earnestly believe you have to see it yourself to experience it or know what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
It was difficult for me to imagine myself in the scenario that would place me in the same state of fear that I experienced on that night. It took many years for me to finally get over it, but today I can say that I'm finally past it. Whereas before, I went to my bed every night fearfully. I can thankfully say that doesn't happen anymore. I am no longer hesitant to discuss what happened. Obviously, a large percentage of the individual I've divulged my story to don't believe me. Most believe that I am earnest in recounting what I saw, but consider it a vivid dream. Others make jokes, and I can't blame them. I would be in the same camp if I had not experienced it firsthand. But the reality is that it did happen, and it's the truth. And you can't cower from reality. There's an objective nature to things. And it would be a disservice for us all to be afraid to confront the truth just because it goes against the grain of the prevalent thinking of the time. Most of humanity's greatest advancement happened after only crossing in the precipice of what we considered before to be absurd and worthy of mocking. Looking back, I don't regret the experience. While it's true that I thought a tremendous amount of my personal discomfort of the time, it brought a tremendous amount of personal discomfort to me at the time. I can't neglect the fact that it helped me to perceive the world in a different manner, and it wouldn't be possible without it. In a way, it molded me into a more skeptic, not in the sense that I'm hesitant to believe anything that diverges from the accepted norm, but that I have a difficult time accepting even basic understandings of our reality at their face value. There's just too much outside of what we as humans are capable of observing, and it's real. There's parts of our existence that are beyond our ability to interpret them, and our inherent biases prevent us from seeing that. So I'm glad I got to witness a little speck of the truth firsthand and be jarred away from that resistance.
It's a pretty interesting story. Like, as you're starting to tell this, I'm like, I don't necessarily believe it. Although, it's very well written. It's like the person, whoever wrote that, is very. It seems like they're very intelligent. They know they're very well spoken, very well written anyway. But I don't know. Like, I'm sitting here thinking that, all the excuses of how it couldn't happen. Because, like, I believe that are aliens. Are there aliens out there? I think so. Absolutely. There's got to be something out there. Have they visited us? Probably. But do they come in somebody's, bedroom to, immediately take you somewhere, probe you, and then boom, you're back like a magician? I don't necessarily see that. So I think there's other scientific, sound explanations for, encounters like that. Does that make sense?
Yep. So your final thoughts is that it's probably just essentially a dream or something like that.
Well, I would say that's probably, odds are it's probably like a dream. I don't know. One time I had. You ever heard of like sleep paralysis?
Yes, I've had it many times.
That's probably the freakiest thing that I had ever encountered, because I woke up, couldn't move. At least I thought I woke up, couldn't move, and I remember trying to.
You're awake,
speak.
but your eyes aren't open, and that's what happened.
No. I could see the. I could see the room. I could see the room. I couldn't necessarily move my head left or right. Couldn't move my body at all, and I tried to speak, and nothing was coming out, and it almost to the point to where I was screaming, and nothing was there, and then all of a sudden, just once, probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and then immediately I woke up. Woke up my girlfriend next to me, and she's like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And I'm like, "You didn't hear me just screaming?" No.
Yeah.
So it's that freaked me out. So
I've had it between 5 and 10 times, and I've been awake, but I can't open my eyes.
Yeah. Oh, I could see. I could totally see.
I guess everybody.
But then again, I try
affected differently by the things like that.
There's times that I go to sleep. I try to lucid dream. I try to induce lucid dreaming, but
you know what stopped it for me? The sleep paralysis.
What's up?
It was when I was sleeping too much.
See, I don't have that. I don't have that problem.
It was very early on.
Yeah.
Like when I was a teenager, early 20s,
yeah.
and I would go out and party on Friday night, and I would sleep essentially all day Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got in that 12 to 14 hour range, it kept happening to me.
Really?
And just one day it occurred to me, and I think I've had it one time since then. But
interesting.
Since then, I've never had it. I was just sleeping too much. I was sleeping 12 to 14 hours, and I think that my body was just going a little too deep into DMT dream state, and it would mess with me.
I'm telling you, your body produces it, and who's to say when it dumps it? I mean, he could have had a DMT trickle to induce that,
But
at the same time, I mean, it depended on how old he was at the time. Did he just hear a story about aliens? Did it trigger those, or had he never heard about it? I think that would play a role in whether or not I believe him. I obviously he believes it, and it's his reality, and perception is reality, and that's his reality. But I don't know. That's tough to think.
We think
to say.
Without giving up too much, I've heard the story before. I was telling you about it, and when this person was telling me about it, just their mannerisms and stuff made me, really, really believe it. Yeah. So I understand this person and the way that they're talking. I mean,
They've details. Heard the story firsthand.
The details of it are just
Very
real vivid. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't remember any dreams I have ever.
Really?
I've had 2 dreams I've remembered in the last year, and they all happened last week. So we're talking about this. I don't ever remember dreams, or
Wow.
I never have sleep. I just dead to the world, and I just wake up and go to work. But I had these 2 dreams last week, and they're crazy. But I believe this person. Just what I'm saying, they told it to me.
How many years ago was this?
Probably I don't know, maybe 10 years ago
Do you think it's deviated since?
No, it's the exact same.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking. Some of the details of, I remember the sash details and stuff. It's all the same. Cause I was like, you never really hear any stories about aliens with sashes and stuff. So I mean, it's kind of a different,
So
It seems real sincere.
it's obviously never told either one of you all this, and I'm probably not going to tell the whole story on camera. But I had a similar experience. It was with more of a demonic presence as opposed to an alien presence, and it was very real to me, and I can still remember all the details of it as well. But the problem that I think that we've kind of highlighted already is that it all happens around when you're sleeping, and so it kind of messes with the perception of the reality. Is did this actually happen in like real life? Did it happen in dream life? Did it happen in DMT life? I think it's all like, who knows that we could get into such a deep sleep that we actually are able to go into some type of different dimension with DMT. I mean the possibilities are literally endless. So
Yep.
I think that the story is real as far as what they perceived, what they experienced. Now the question to me then becomes, is this a first-hand real life experience, or is it some type of dream-like, interdimensional because I question my experience the same.
Yeah.
Exactly the same, because I might as well just tell it, doesn't matter. It's like I was asleep on my back. I just got back. I just went to sleep. Demonic presence came at the end of my bed, literally jumped on me. I could feel the weight of everything and grabbed me by my head like this, and was like shaking my head, and I was like trying to fight it off. And it almost was like the experience that I had with sleep paralysis, where I was like, I couldn't really move. But I began to fight enough, and I finally kind of forced whatever it was off of me. And it just, like, simultaneously, I was sitting up, my eyes were open, everything. And I could literally, like, I don't know if you felt it, but when somebody grabs you hard enough, you can feel the tingle. I felt the tingle of the finger all around the back of my head as I set up. So, obviously what I experienced was real to me. Now, did it happen in real life? Did it happen due to some type of dream state? I don't know. And that's the only time that's ever happened to me.
That's a very common kind of phenomenon. It's like called the old hag. Have you ever read about it? Well, you gotta look it up. It's about this it's like this witch or whatever, like, either gets on your head or your chest or something like that. It's like a demon or a witch or something that it's something that a lot of people have actually experienced. Like I read about somewhere else before, but like either sits on your head or chest or something. It's like
it was weird.
Some kind of dark. But
did you see anything, or was it just all feel?
I don't know.
So I wonder if it's like
because I could see it, but I don't know if my eyes are open. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So and I kind of feel almost the same way about when you tell me sleep paralysis. Like, I know that you said your eyes were open, but were they really open?
Well, like
I said, memorize the room.
Well, exactly. Like, I think whenever I try to induce lucid dreaming, you lay there and you do not blink your eyes, and then at some point you fall asleep, but you don't really realize you're asleep because you had kind of forced your eyes to stay open. So there's times that I can like do that, close my eyes, and I feel like I can still see the room.
Have you ever like had a dream where you woke up and you could feel like somebody grabbing you or something like that?
Nothing like that. No body sensations.
Well, I guess the weirdest part about it is that this was a time that I was very involved in church, and I actually had preached earlier that day, and it's the only time I've ever experienced it in my life.
Yeah.
And
I think maybe you manifested it.
Well, it's something that a lot of people have actually had. Like I said, I've heard several stories about that. It's always been something that interested me with stuff like that. And like I said, I don't ever dream.
I can still feel. I could probably almost point to you where I felt the fingertips. I could feel them or hear my head, because it was like literally like grabbing me like that and like shaking hard enough. And I knew enough jiu-jitsu back then. I was literally jiu-jitsu in the demon.
Yeah.
And as I came up and had everything, I could feel the weight leave me, and I could feel the fingertips still in the back of my head, like just a tingle sensation, like when somebody grabs you real hard and they let go, and the blood's able to go back in there.
I hope somebody else has more stories like that.
Yeah, I hope so too. I've gotten more, and I've gotten other people that have said, hey, I had an experience, but they haven't really told me what the experience is, and I don't really know where the boundaries are on all this. This is all a new experience for me. I didn't necessarily even expect to get any type of feedback like this at all. It's great. It's fantastic. This is 35 podcasts, and obviously the best feedback we've gotten so far. So this is 36, but 35 podcasts, and this one's the best that we've gotten so far. So, you know, definitely keep them coming. If you've had any type of experience one way or the other, let us know. And we'll continue to share them and continue to do these as long as it's popular. I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse, you know. But
it's an interesting topic. It's a divisive topic because there's people out there that's like, no, there's no such thing, and there's people that are like, yes, but it's somewhere.
I think it's somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere definitely in the middle.
And I do think humans are capable of going into some type of dream state, or maybe, like I said, even in a different dimension to experience some of this stuff. And like the sleep paralysis got so bad for me between like 20 or probably 18 and like 22, 23 that I was literally thinking about going to the doctor, and it only happened like 5 or 10 times. And
that's a lot.
I know it's terrifying. The last time I actually woke up screaming. So it's almost like the first time that you had it happen, you didn't really know what was going on, and you're trying to do this and that. Like you once you get to like as many times as I had it happen,
you were a pro.
You knew what was going on.
Oh, I'm just.
And so last time I woke up screaming, and my wife was like, it was crazy. She's like, you were thrashing, and because like that's almost what you have to do. You like have to almost thrash yourself out of it. You like get that adrenaline rush to kick you out of that DMT state. So yeah, it was wild. But yeah, definitely keep the submissions coming in. I will continue to read them if you've had one like myself or one like the viewer submission. Would love to hear about it. I would really like to hear if anybody had any while they're awake, because those are much more interesting to me, because I think that anybody that listens to either one of mine or the guy that's either one of those, you know, they would probably be like, oh, well, you're sleeping, so you know that's
or like the ones that are the guys that say they're out in the woods and then they're abducted at that point. Then it's kind of like or see Bigfoot.
That story is crazy about the people in Mammoth Cave, the Bigfoot one.
Yeah, you said that story.
Yeah.
And I got into it a little bit more.
Obviously, it's mostly a crazy person.
The guy just come over there and rattled somebody's tent.
But that would scare the shit out of me if I was there.
I seen Bigfoot, and then they fired a shot, and the couple was like, I'm out.
That's why I would always have a gun on me when I'm camping. Like, probably you, and I'm sure you maybe, but...
I've got a gun on me now.
Yeah.
I need to get one. Like, I haven't got one, but...
try to talk to you about it, but, you know...
Now it's legal to carry, like,
I think that I think I would be nervous to carry one concealed, just because... I was in downtown the other day, and I think that if I had one, like, I think it draws like those situations to you. Do you know what I mean?
No, not really, because I've carried one for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I've never had a situation.
Right.
So.
Well, maybe it's just me.
What do y'all think about it? Like,
I think it's a stigma.
I've got like mixed feelings, not meant by like the legal constitutional carry of Kentucky. You think like anybody like should without going to classes? Because you've taken the class. I haven't taken the classes.
I mean, I think that classes are a deal, and I think for me personally, I'm going to continue to keep up my certification because
just in case.
Just in case, number one, but number two, it also allows you to carry into other states.
Yeah, they got legally reciprocity. I can't ever say that.
Reciprocity. Reciprocity.
Yeah.
So, but
reciprocity.
Like, I think when you first start carrying a gun, there's like some type of stigma behind it. Like, you think that might manifest it, or you think that there might be, some type of situation that happens. But I'll tell you what, for me, one of the things, and I'm not saying like professional or anything like that, but just being able to handle yourself a little bit with your hands and stuff, like you if you're just encountering like a person-to-person thing, you can protect your gun, and you have the ability to know I can control certain situations with how to pull my gun.
Right.
And then, when it reaches a certain level, then you have to pull the gun at that point in time.
Right.
But I think that's one of the biggest things that I see out of police shootings, out of the Trayvon Martin shooting, is just people that are carrying a gun but don't necessarily know how to make sure that they have space between them and the threat, to make sure that they know how to handle themselves if they come at them. I think a lot of times people are like more like shoot first, and I think if you go into it with the mentality of, yes, I have a gun and I can use it if I need to, but at the same time, if a threat approaches, I'm going to do everything that I can to not have that happen.
Yeah.
And I think that once you get used to it and you understand that there's no boogeyman that's going to jump out and know that you have a gun, then it changes things a little bit.
He said, "You got a gun? Let's duel."
Plus, you live in Louisville, so it's a little bit different from Winchester. Like every time I go into Speedway in Winchester, somebody's over carrying a gun.
Well, sure, yeah.
So I mean,
it's commonplace.
So that's what I think kind of the weird part about it. It's like where we got this rural urban mix, and then the constitutional carry. I don't think there's a lot of states with it, but are there? There's like 4 or 5 other states, right?
It's growing. It's kind of like
it's like
the legal marijuana. Like it's continuing to grow, but they're going to start to interact as well to where medical marijuana and like concealed carry is probably not going to mesh.
Well, no, yeah, because I know in states where you have to have a license for medical marijuana, you're not allowed to own a gun.
That's crazy.
Like California, you can't have the two. It's either one or the other.
That's
but California's legal now. They're not medical anymore.
recreational. So you can just go to the store and get it
you're
now.
right. So I'm not sure if they've changed that.
Yeah, because
right.
I mean, you look at somebody like Rogan, and obviously he uses, but he's not gonna. He obviously has guns too. So
True.
They make the medical marijuana really hard for people that need it to get and make it really expensive too. So I mean, I don't know.
Well,
I think it just should be legal.
I'm glad that we kind of brought this up
Broadways.
because I'm going to post something soon because I sent it to David, but they just announced that Clark County here has went up and leads the state in overdoses, and like everywhere else in the state went down,
Really?
and Clark County went up.
Wow.
So hopefully have somebody on that has some firsthand knowledge with it. I haven't posted anything yet because honestly, I just don't know how to approach the question to be just completely
What question
honest.
is that?
Like, hey, does anybody that has overcome a drug addiction want to come and talk about it on a podcast?
No, I mean my family. I grew up around it, so
Yeah.
like I don't have any personal firsthand account in ingesting, but I see the effects of it, and I can see the effects of how the cannabis industry could curtail the alcohol industry and the prescription pill industry, because some people are looking for an escape, some people are looking for pain relief, some people are looking for just some other things, and a lot of times they look for that in alcohol, heroin, just pills, just all the things that are detrimental to your life now, and honestly everything in moderation.
Right.
But
Yeah.
alcohol is extremely highly addictive. Pills are highly addictive. Like all these other drugs are highly addictive and detrimental to your life if you are addicted. Where cannabis is not. It's not.
Yeah, but I think that
not medically,
some of those people that
addictive.
have that just addictive personalities, just because there isn't anything in there that essentially makes it addictive, they still get addicted to it because it's just the pattern, the procedure of going through all that stuff.
Without a doubt.
And so that's the people that they use against everything whenever they're trying to pass medical marijuana, or that it was just so crazy that hemp was illegal for so long, and I think that just by people using CBD oil could eliminate some of the pill usage and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Because it's just such it's a good pain reliever, it's a good mood enhancer, and most importantly, it just takes a lot of inflammation off of your joints and your brain and everything else like that. So
there's a flip side to it. I think I was talking about the story when I had gout, and I was walking with a cane, and I was at this festival, and this guy was like, "What's wrong with you, man? I got CBD oil, cures this, 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 and this."
Yeah, it's
I know it does not cure diabetes,
like snake oil
or autism, whatever the guy was saying. He's it cures he's got this laundry list of things it cures, and it.
Right.
Well, there's different cannabinoids that they can pull out of that plant, and it's not just for that plant is not just good just for medical, but just like textiles and just everything about the plant is can be amazing, but it's terrible how they've demonized it. But back on being addictive, everybody's addicted to something. People are addicted to work.
But I think admitting that you're addicted to it is part of the problem.
Well,
that most people can't do.
because we're all
substances, I guess.
right.
I'm addicted to caffeine.
We're all
1,000%.
We're all creatures of habit. In some form or way, there's something that you do on a daily basis that you cannot get throughout the day without doing. Whatever form it is. Some people it's heroin. Some people it's caffeine. Some people it's checking to see if the door is locked 5 times before they leave. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm addicted to that too.
That's terrible. The screen. I got an app. I've got an iPhone, and it can track your screen time. My screen time on a daily basis is terrible.
My average on Instagram is an hour and 47 minutes.
A day?
For Instagram, I can't. I
think mine's like 8 minutes.
I open up Instagram maybe like once every 2 or 3 weeks.
Well,
I don't.
I have my Instagram linked through my Facebook, so everything I post on Instagram goes directly to Facebook, and then I have the hunting one. I have the.
You watch that documentary I was telling you about, the great hack, and you would want to get off of social media.
I already do. It's just part of the beast, you know.
All these data points that they have on you that they're using against you.
I guess show me how to grow something without social media. That's the problem.
It's true. Yeah, it's tough.
Anyways, we kind of went off topic right there a little bit, which I'm glad because I don't have any notes anymore, and you guys have been on before, so I want to try to start doing a little bit more of just conversation pieces.
Yeah, absolutely.
But something else that's been in the news lately is the storm in Area 51 idea. I think it's part of the reason that our first podcast was so popular,
right?
Because it kind of hit at the perfect time. So I made the mistake of saying last week or the week before last on the podcast that we were going to profit off the people's deaths. It's not how I meant it at all. I'm just going to say that now, but I mean, I didn't think it was necessarily really going to happen. I don't think that I think that it's going to be shut down so fast it's going to make people's heads spin. And so that's the reason I said it kind of tongue in cheek. I don't think that it's all going to happen. I think there will be a gathering of people, but I think that once they understand the full and power of the U.S. government, that they'll be like, well, we gave a good shot. So
I think that everybody that clicked that they were going got put into a separate file at the NSA, and it's like combing through everything that you've done. Yeah.
Did you see that they got 100 million people on that Face app or whatever? They got information of 100 million people.
Is that right? The old turning yourself into an old man?
Yeah, David is one of them.
Yeah, they got the Russians got my email, my picture now. They're gonna clone me.
Well, I mean,
they got my DNA test.
Technically, you could just take any photo and run it through that app. So it's like.
I think the thing is where it attaches it to your email, and then it allows you to.
It's like any other app.
Yeah, because you have to in order to use that, to your contacts and pictures too.
Back on that documentary, like the Great Hack. It's like whenever you allow them to do that, it's not like, so if I'm friends with you on Facebook, even though I didn't do it, you're giving them permission to comb your friends list. And they get your contact information.
But every app does that too. Like
a lot of
the big thing with this one is because it was headquartered in Russia.
Yeah.
So that was their big deal with that one instead of California. But they still sell your stuff too. So how do you think Facebook makes money?
Well, that's how they make money. Facebook makes money off of your personal.
And nobody pushes back on it because it's just the new reality.
Right.
So it's probably going to get way worse in the future because I'm sure that there's a database with every picture you've ever sent to someone, every conversation you had, and
you're absolutely right.
And now they're with Alexa and stuff; they can record in your house, like the noises without you asking. Yeah, they definitely are because we've said stuff like I've talked stuff and then put up on Facebook, and it's there.
I was watching a YouTube video. I've been obsessed with not only the powerlifting thing, but also with this show called Hot Ones, where they eat hot wings and answer questions.
Yes, I agree.
And so I was sitting on the couch like last Saturday morning, and I was watching it, and I was watching the Theo Vaughn one, and I was scrolling down my phone, and Theo Vaughn is very famous for telling stories about Denny's. So they asked him a story about Denny's, and he started telling the story, and like I put my phone down to listen to the story, and I picked it back up, and like the third one I scrolled down was a Denny's advertisement on Instagram.
Yeah, and there's not very many Denny's around.
No, there's never been one.
There's one in Lexington.
There's never been one Denny's advertisement on my Instagram ever. I mean, I don't eat at Denny's. I don't talk about Denny's. I mean, so obviously they are. So you're probably right by clicking. I'm going to the Area 51 thing. They're probably doing a little extra special attention to.
Oh, without a doubt, you're absolutely getting put in a box to where you're going up to the next level of tech support. Then somebody's coming through all your social media for sure.
6 million people said that they were going to go, and
there's a bunch of maybes too. So don't forget those people.
What's the likelihood of people showing up there? 100,000?
No, I don't think. You don't
even think 100,000 might show up?
No.
There's only like one hotel in the entire area.
I still think a bunch of people will show up and they'll realize, hey, there's only one road in, and there's a bunch of Hummers with dudes on 50 cows, and it's probably not the best idea. And then if we do get past this fence, we're gonna have to run through 2 miles of desert.
Even the thing is, like, President Obama was the very first president to publicly mention it. We heard that in a documentary. So that tells me that anything and everything that was secret in Area 51 is no longer there. Yeah. They've got another Area 52 somewhere or whatever. Yeah. In some other. Do you know how big Area 51 is?
They used. I can't ever think of the eminent domain, and they used eminent domain to get the outside properties too. So
4,300 square miles.
Well, that's the thing about it. Like, he could say Area 51 until he's blue in the face, but nobody's getting in there.
No,
nobody's gonna find out what's in there.
And like I said, I think everything that was important is no longer there.
So, I think it's probably still there, and I think even if they did break through the barriers and they ran through however many miles of desert to get to the actual base, like, it's probably going to have a nuclear, like, proved blast door on it. How are they going to get in?
Well, think about this though. Like, Area 51 is not just the United States knows about Area 51. Like, the entire world knows about Area 51 at this point because we're all connected. So, if we were ever to get invaded or what, like, that's going to be one of the first places that they try to strike. So, like, I don't think that.
I don't think they try to strike it because they want the technology.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. Like, invade, take over, what have you. Like, I think all that stuff has been moved out to some other place.
I don't know. I mean, you may be right, but I think that it's probably a lot of it's still there.
Yeah. Speaking of this, I seen the story of something about, like, it's probably one of those off the wall stories, but it was about what's actually in Antarctica, like how the United States and Russia actually have a secret base in Antarctica. I don't know if you've seen this.
No.
So that's probably where they moved everything. It's too cold.
But Antarctica, they can only keep the scientists there for like just a small period of time because the where the weather's where the weather's habitable. So I think there's like maybe a couple people that stay there all year, but most of the time it's like there's like open season for science and exploration there.
So do you think that anything will transpire out of the Area 51 thing?
No, I think it's 100% a joke. There might be a couple people who just show up, maybe just curious of to see if other people show up. But I think everybody understands that if anybody's good at killing civilians, it's the federal government.
I don't think anybody's going to storm anything, but I do think that people will show up, and I think that it could actually turn into like a festival or something. Yeah, because like festivals are the latest and greatest thing. And if I was the people that own the property around Area 51, the store and the hotel and everything, that's exactly what I'd be advertising it as.
Yeah.
So.
Be like,
sell merchandise.
I should just go ahead and do that. Yeah.
So that's my prediction. I don't think anybody's storming anything. I think.
Do you think anybody gets arrested?
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
When is this? Is this supposed to happen in September? Is that right?
September.
Does anybody get shot or killed in the process?
I don't know, but I would think that.
And if they do,
I think that it'll somehow end up being good for business. Like, it'll end up being good for those people that are having the festival. Like, I don't think anybody gets shot. I think that they're going to be extra cautious about it to not start some type of international ordeal. So I think that people will 1,000% get arrested. I don't think anybody gets shot or killed, unless it won't be by Area 51 security, military, or police. It might be like the Bigfoot story. Some type of alien argument, like what color it was, what color sash the alien was wearing, like back and forth, and that may start some type of argument that has people shoot each other and kill each other.
I don't know, they didn't find the guy in Mammoth Cave that night, like when they called 911 and stuff, just to see what, they never found that guy.
Maybe it was Bigfoot.
Bigfoot got him. That's why no one knows if Bigfoot's real, because he kills everybody.
Well, no, because he can talk and he throws people off. He's just sitting up in the woods going, "Hey, who's that over there?" And everybody goes over there and he's like, "Oh, okay, give me some Jack Links and go on over here." So, all right. So our final topic, we're over an hour now, so probably running low on battery and everything else. So probably got 20-30 minutes left. So
I think it's full still.
We'll get to it. We're still good.
It's on the right side, so it's not full. It's
I see one little black bar.
Yeah, so. One little black bar, so it's probably about half.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we get to the big topic. So the big point of contention was Bob Lazar. I haven't really read anything else on it. I know David sent some articles out, but I didn't find any authors or anything like that, so I didn't really.
Yeah, I thought he wrote it.
I think
there's authors on it.
I think he wrote it.
It's a scientist that wrote it. Another scientist.
But it didn't say his name.
So
it did. Yeah, it did.
Show me. I want to see that.
Hold on, let me try to pull it.
You don't believe. You don't believe. Is that correct?
No, he does not believe. But here's my concern, and honestly, I'm kind of disappointed about it. What 6 million people watched that podcast or whatever, and not one person was able to bring anything new forth. Like that just bums me out so bad. Like, what's the point of doing these giant podcasts if nobody's gonna bring cool stuff forward? Like,
what do you mean?
like like a classmate or something of his. Like here's a yearbook or whatever. But even yearbooks. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I was in college for 2 years and I didn't take one yearbook picture.
No, you're right. Because even in high school, like I only have my freshman yearbook. That's it. Like,
right, but you're probably in the rest of them. Right?
I am not. No,
oh, you skipped them?
No, I didn't want my picture to be in them. Yeah, I just didn't like it.
So I don't know, man. I'm bummed out that like there was articles for and articles against, but there weren't really. I mean, it's kind of all like on forums and stuff like that, where the authors are hard to track down, their credentials are hard to track down.
Obviously, this guy, he's a smart man. There's no question about that. Regardless if he went to this school or didn't go to that school, the man was an intelligent person. And his story on how he got connected to get a job inside that inside that building, not necessarily Area 51, S4. Thank you. And his story to get connected to get that job, I think is plausible. We've all gotten a job based on an interaction with a person, a friend, or something like that we didn't go through the normal job hiring process. We didn't necessarily
have like the news story and stuff that he had going for him. You know what I'm
Correct. Saying? Right. Exactly. So I think that the whole hiring process is very plausible. The compartmentalization that he described is very, very plausible.
Oh, yeah, they would have to do it that way.
If you watch the documentary on Unacknowledged and Dr. Greer, how he describes that compartmentalization, totally plausible, totally believable. I think
that's how they do everything
so
in government.
All they're wanting to do is him to pinpoint on this particular aspect of this technology, and we need your input on it. That's it.
Right.
You don't need to know anything else other than what is in front of you. Totally plausible.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And how you can discredit somebody like that, like I don't see how you can't believe.
No, I can't find it.
Yeah, because it doesn't exist.
Well, the other one said who the guy was that wrote it, but I don't see it on this.
It's all good, but
this guy, because his name isn't on it, doesn't exist. But Bob Lazar, because there's nothing on it, exists.
But here's the thing about that, though.
And his story hasn't changed over since when it came out. But your friend who told the story about the alien encounter, those details didn't change. Bob Lazar's details didn't change. It's the same story. And for him to have this investigative journalist who is...
He was a...
Well, right. He's probably not...
He's an alien radio host show.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. Well,
so he's got a spin.
Hang on.
We're not talking about two different people, because you're talking about Jeremy Corbell.
No.
He's talking about Knapp, George Knapp.
I'm talking about George Knapp.
Okay, yeah.
At the time that he interviewed him, he was an investigator.
Yeah, he was a
respected investigative journalist. He believed Bob Lazar. Now, maybe he deviated off from that path, and he's a UFO guy now.
He's only on there. He's only on there every now and then. He's not like
the main guy.
But what I'm saying is, he believed him. Like, he did the research. He backed Bob Lazar's story back then.
Back when he was winning awards for being...
Back when he was... Yeah, exactly. So I don't... Just because, whoever erased certain aspects of Bob Lazar's life and nobody wants to come forward to say, yeah, I was in the class with him. Well, look at what, the government could potentially do to you and how Bob Lazar's life has been since then. I wouldn't want to, Kellen comes out and says, this and this and this, and then the government is attacking him. I'm going to be like, hey, peace, brother.
The government didn't go after the guy who said he dropped him off at the library, though. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just, I have a piece of paper from a school I went to saying I graduated. He should have that somewhere. It's an important thing. He spent a long time going to school. He should have the piece of paper.
That makes sense.
But I mean...
I think
it's possible he's telling the truth. I just felt like my first red flag, just listened to him on the Joe Rogan podcast, and the way he was I've got this migraine.
So
And
you
he's
should have
like-
watched. If you watch the documentary and then listen to him on the podcast.
Yeah, but
because
the
I thought-
documentaries are always made to show one side.
Sure,
of
without
it.
a doubt.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right. And I agree with you. If I started with the Rogan podcast, him coming on with the migraine,
yeah.
But you have to think about all the scrutiny that he's been under, and
But he still
knowing-
cashes in at UFO conventions and stuff. I'm sure.
I don't know, does he?
Yeah, let's say Bob Lazar UFO convention. I'm sure I'll find something.
I don't know that to be. I thought that he distanced himself from all that.
No, I'm sure it's
Over-
really good for his business
Well,
too.
there's
'cause-
a difference between
He's
going
not a
to-
rich man. It's like
Well, I think he probably is from running the science lab stuff he does.
Maybe, I don't know.
right, but
Yeah,
not
yeah.
from the UFO aspect.
Well, I mean,
he's
I don't have his text, but he's listed Bob Lazar, McMenamin's UFO Festival.
Well, I think there's a difference though. Like if you're doing something like Scarefest or
Yeah,
Comic Con and you're getting paid for your appearance,
Yeah,
to me that's the difference between doing, because a lot of these UFO things are like the one that was it Greer they
Greer.
put on the actual panel in Washington, and you're actually having a
That's
panel.
a,
of
yeah,
people
yeah,
talk
yeah. That was
about it.
a,
Absolutely.
that was
So
a
if
pretty
he's
good
doing
one.
something like that, then I think that's perfectly reasonable, because I think that the only way to decompartmentalize all this information is by getting different people together,
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to put
Yeah.
the pieces.
They
together.
wouldn't put him in one of those because he's not accredited with anything. Like they don't.
I mean,
you'll
there
never
was,
decompartmentalize
there was,
it.
but there was people on Greer's panel that were just like, like plane. They were in the planes and they were, and they were,
They actually had documented,
encounters.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about like actual military?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were saying like accredited. Just
No,
a
like,
pilot,
yeah,
versus, I see what you're saying. I don't know, man. The only thing that I've really changed my point on, I still believe that whatever Bob Lazar saying is his truth. It could be just the same as what we were talking about earlier with the story and my story and things like that. But I can see now, like what David was saying about Element 115, like he could have just called it Element 115 years and years ago, and then this other element comes that they call 115, and you go, yeah,
but the
that's
115 is based on its atomic weight, correct?
Yeah, but it's
Right,
it's
so
not
it's not
something
like-
that you could create inorganically too. I'm not I did really bad in chemistry class, so I don't really know anything
I did
about
really
it. So.
good, but I don't remember anything. So,
So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
did really
very
good
good.
because of Mike.
I'm not a good science guy.
nice.
But I mean, I can kind of see what he's saying, like, just kind of betting the farm on this element coming to pass one day, and then when it comes to pass, you say this is it, because if you can't see, the rumor is that he has some of it. Now, if he produces that, then
Well, that's what
obviously
they
that's a
kind
game
of
changer.
like they made that in the documentary, kind of like iffy and touchy topic,
Right. Like,
whether or not he has it. But,
Yeah.
I mean, he's been raided by by the government a couple times.
If they would have found it, they would have thrown him in jail.
I think-
Probably.
Bingo,
think
but why would they raid him? Like if he was,
Yeah, I
if
think
he did,
that
if
was
he
a target
didn't do
to
all
me.
these things. I mean, he's speaking out against
Yeah.
the most powerful nation
Yeah.
in the world. I mean, like you're going to speak out, somebody's going to probe and investigate.
What was the
And-
story about them looking for the test flight at his house, and the guy, was it the documentary one or was it something I read? But they were looking for the test flight in his house, and they were going through old tapes, and they found the tape, but he recorded something over, like an episode of TV over it.
no,
No, I haven't heard that.
no, that was that was Element 115. It wasn't the test.
Oh,
flight.
okay.
So there was a thing called a cloud test.
Yeah, that's what it was. And
Yeah.
then they started it, but they weren't sure if that was what it was because he recorded over it with a.
It was like his wedding tape. or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
But it was just all on the same tape, but there's only 30 seconds of it. But apparently that's all that there had ever been, because whenever George Knapp had talked to Jeremy Corbell, he said that's all that there ever was of it. So it's like
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
like he put it
I mean,
like on a. To me, it kind of looked like, hey, he put it with like another important tape, so he'd always know where it was. You know what I'm saying?
That's true too, but they said he had no clue, or he let the guy go through his stuff to find it.
Yeah, I mean, that very well may be true. I mean, to me, I think once he came out, he tremendously regretted it, because I think more importantly, like he was really like, when I hear him talk about the science of everything and what they were actually doing there, it seemed like he was genuinely like involved in it and wanted to try to progress what they were doing there. And so I think that's that's one of the parts that makes me believe him the most, is because I think he's truly hurt that he wasn't involved in it anymore. And I think that he just did it out of, almost like a split-second decision to thinking he was going to try to save his own life. And now he's not involved in the science anymore, and it's kind of made him, I don't want to say irrelevant, but it's definitely took it down.
Yeah, from everything I read, though, he's pretty well respected just from the stuff he sells on his because he has access, like he sells stuff that most companies don't really sell to like science hobbyists or professors and stuff like that.
But I think the biggest difference, what I meant was like, that'd be like going to play in the MLB, and you're playing in the MLB, and you somehow get blackballed out of the MLB, and then you got to go play at Legend Stadium every week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
Like you're still involved in science, but you're so far away from the big leagues.
You have the talent to be in the big leagues.
And you kind of crave getting back to that point, because obviously if he was truly working on alien technologies, it was an upper echelon thing that you're just so fortunate to be a part of, I would assume.
Yeah.
And so now, I don't want to say, like I said, I don't want to say he's irrelevant, but the fact of the matter is that he's not working on alien technology. He's not trying to reverse engineer anything. Obviously, what he's doing now is, in this grand scheme of things, is probably far less important. My thought process was that if he does have the element 115, it's hidden somewhere that's not in his laboratories, it's not going to be in any paperwork, and he would almost have to have like some type of secret underground lab or some type of secret hideout friend that has it, and they're trying to synthesize it.
Yeah, I think that we'll find out when he successfully synthesizes.
Because I think that would be the ultimate finger to everyone. Like, see, I told y'all.
Well, I read that it's not possible for it to be synthesized. I don't know anything about it.
That's what they said about Iron Man's.
I mean, maybe. I think that he could be telling the truth, but like I said, it's like an instinct thing. Like you can always tell people are bullcrapping you, you know what I'm saying? And
well, they did synthesize
obvious
it
the way that the guy said when he was like, "Oh, got this hoodie." He's like, "I don't remember."
But the thing about that is though, because I'm in agreement with you. I thought it was super strange. But after that, he continued the whole conversation without a beat. It was just that one little moment.
The same story that he said a long time ago.
Well, there's a lot of different stuff in there. I mean, I actually watched the podcast first, and I was kind of like under the same thing that you all was. It was really. I actually sent you a text about it.
I was like, you got to watch the documentary
in
first.
Quotations. Yeah. But I finished the podcast, and I thought it was strange. But then I was like, well, he finished everything strongly though. Like if it was just like he complained about his migraines the whole time. Like I can see what you're saying, but I mean, it probably would be super stressful. I mean, sometimes. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think this guy ever seeked the spotlight. Like, I don't think that he ever wanted, it to be about Bob Lazar.
He's only done like two, from what I can find. He did like the Larry King podcast and the Rogan podcast, and that was like it.
Oh, he was on after Rogan. He went on.
It was before Rogan.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was before Rogan whenever they were releasing this documentary.
Okay.
Does Larry King still have a podcast?
I didn't know he had a podcast.
Yeah, probably listen to that. I could only find his interviews.
You can only find like 10 minutes of it on YouTube, so you might have to do it like on Apple or something like
that. I don't watch podcasts on YouTube.
You don't watch our podcast on YouTube?
Well, like
I do.
Thanks.
Obviously I do, but I mean, most of the podcasts I listen to them. I don't, because I listen to them while driving. I don't sit home with watch.
I like to watch. I like to put on podcasts on the TV as I'm doing things around the house. Yeah,
I do that, and I also have the YouTube thing where you can lock your phone and it still plays.
Do you listen to them? You don't listen to them through any like?
No.
No, because he's got an Android.
Well, I do too. That's why I got. But it's there's a bunch of apps, and I finally found. I use Spotify mostly for the podcasts. I didn't know.
Well, we're going to have to figure something out to stream ours directly. But once again, that's just another added cost, added expense that, I want to make sure that we're prepared for.
Get some sponsorship.
I waited for a long time before we got, guests and stuff like that of a higher caliber, because I wanted everybody to be ready for, all the problems that we've had. We're the 35th one, and last week we had scratchy audio. So, I mean, it's just one of those things that it's just a constant evolving process. But yeah, I would like to eventually stream our podcast, but I think YouTube's super simple, just for the fact.
And more people listen to YouTube than I realize. Like I only listen to podcasts through apps and stuff, but like listen to them. But a lot of people I talk to, because everybody's big on the Joe Rogan podcast. We're talking about that. And everybody I've talked to, they watch it on YouTube. And I don't watch it on YouTube. I listen to it,
Right.
through that.
I think sometimes it's better to listen to it
Yeah.
because of copyright issues on some of the things they talk about too. So they're not allowed to show on YouTube.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I knew that he at one point in time was doing YouTube Live and he stopped doing that. I don't remember which guest made him stop
Still
doing
does
that.
it.
It's not live anymore.
No.
No, he tapes them all before now. So, which is what we've obviously always done.
Because I would get a notification that he's live. I'll have to check that out. Yeah.
I think that it's just like, I think that it's still delayed though. It might say live, like you might be streaming it live or something.
Is he like the white man's Oprah?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not
Our
gonna lie
age
to you
group's
guys.
Oprah.
I'm kind of disappointed. I thought you guys would be more contentious about Bob Lazar. Even David's like, it feels like his stance has softened on it a little bit.
Well, I mean, like I
think
said,
we're
like,
getting on him.
well,
I think
last
we're
time,
writing it down.
no, not really. Last time you guys were just so like militant that he was right, and then I had to kind of balance it out.
I think he took it as like I was militant, like he was right. But my point of it is like, I've never based on anything on what the government says. So like if you can't find records of somebody, that makes me believe that person more.
But as
I
a
think the government
person,
smears
like
people.
with science or anything like that, you have to have some kind of, secondhand, even a secondhand source or something. There's no secondhand source even. There's no primary source.
Well, did it say he actually ever graduated?
No, well, no one knows. So I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like you don't necessarily
there's no transcripts or anything.
Like Elon Musk says, you don't confuse education with knowledge. Like there's two totally different things. Just because he doesn't have a piece of paper saying that.
But usually there's some kind of
he
secondhand
remembered
proof.
these
If I was
facts.
like, if I don't have the primary proof, I was just be like, oh yeah, there's probably secondhand proof. Like someone being like, yeah, he was in my class or something. There's nothing like that. So I mean, I can't really believe just some nerd with glasses talking about his migraines.
The dude had a rocket engine strapped to a Honda. I mean, like that's not just some guy that's that's somebody that's smart.
I don't know. I
who's
mean,
very
I just think
intelligent.
that
Well, you can be smart and be a liar. There's a lot of smart liars out there. There are a lot of them in Washington D.C. right now. So I mean,
it's in Washington D.C.
I mean, that's definitely true, but at the same time, like, you have to have a point and a reason behind the lie. And, like, at a certain point, it had been 20 years or whatever, he could have just faded into obscurity. He could have told Jeremy no.
Well, he kind of was. That's why he came back.
Yeah. He did fade. I think he did fade into obscurity, but people knew
The
his
story,
name,
yeah,
knew the
yeah.
story, and
I think that if he wanted the publicity to come back, he would have done far more than just the Rogan podcast and just a documentary. I think he could be on Alex Jones' podcast. He could do all of them all the time.
I don't know. There's already a lot of UFO people out there though that say stuff like.
You ever watched the Dirt documentary Wormwood? Well, not a documentary, but more like
I've seen it. And I started at one point in time, but I never finished it.
It was really good, and like you watch that, and you'll never believe a word that the government says. Like
we talked about before, like the smear jobs they've done on people.
Oh, yeah.
You just look at the JFK thing and how biased that was. What was the other one? Operation something Wood that they were gonna fake attacks on the United States from Cuba.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I've never seen a documentary on that.
It's like acts of terrorism or whatever.
Yeah, they were like an attack a movie theater.
Like mass
blow
shootings,
up a jetliner and all this stuff and blame it on Cuba just to start a war with them.
Yep, just to overtake them.
And this was like literally documented through military officials. If your government's going to go to that extent to take care of its own civilians...
Well, even look at Iraq. Like it had nothing to do with 9/11 and we still have people over there 20 years later. It's insane.
So, I mean, obviously, if they're going to go to those great lengths with nations or whatever it may be to think that they might smear a small, no-name scientist in the 80s is not that far of a stretch.
But you could at least have someone back you up or have something. Like I said, they wouldn't be able to take his degree they gave him. Scientist people, they got like a bunch of degrees and they got them framed.
Well, I think he almost takes... The way that I took it, I think when people question his education, he kind of takes it like the Elon Musk stand, like as far as education and knowledge. I think it almost turns him off because he said, "What? Even if I produce all this stuff that you say that needs to go with my education and things like that, is it going to change people's views?"
Yeah, it would, because it would give him proof that he's not like a fraud man.
Right.
That's the biggest thing is he's a fraudster.
But I think that there's a lot of people that come out all the time that have all that documentation that people still call them a fraud, still call them a liar, still say that they're making this stuff up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there's military officials that have came out with documented things about UFOs, whatever it may be, and people still call them frauds. So people still call them liars. So
I don't know anybody that calls them liars or fraud. Like after like the big disclosure thing came out in the newspaper, and nobody ever read, like in the Washington Post and New York Times stories and stuff about like pretty much that UFOs are real.
But
Government's
right.
admitting that UFOs are real.
But we're also kind of incubated in this group of people that kind of believe that.
Yeah, and you're
are
in
a little bit
bubble.
more in the
That's why it's
know.
important to always be a skeptic about
But
stuff.
if you just walk down the road or whatever, and you showed somebody a story on YouTube or something about a military general that came out, like the guy that said that all the missiles were deactivated. You know, if you showed the people that story, most people would say he's a liar or a fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm more inclined to believe somebody like Bob Lazar versus somebody that's hunting in the woods saying that they were abducted.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know, because I mean, it's just I didn't really get any there's a world of con men out there, so you got I'm always got to be skeptical about everything. I can't be I'm open minded, but not so open minded to where you're going. I don't know it. When I listened to it, he just didn't seem genuine, and then I would have believed it for sure, but then I was reading more about him and the education stuff. That's a big deal because it shows he's a con man probably or something. I mean, there's no. I'd have a piece of paper, a picture of you at graduation or something, or the government went to your mom's house and destroyed the pictures.
But what does that? That still doesn't amount to a hill of beans. Like you said, that he probably didn't graduate. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't.
Yeah. But why is he saying he did though?
But he's
that
obviously
makes him
he's
a
obviously
liar
smart
there too. Because he says he went there, and then if he didn't graduate, then he's lying about that as well. So I mean,
but I don't know that he ever said he graduated. But I see what you're saying there as well.
Yeah.
I just think it's a slippery, it's super slippery slope. I mean, I can't fathom somebody being smart enough to transition this stuff to a Honda with a jet, engine.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't imagine him making it. I mean, he made that bike.
Well, engineers at Honda do that. Engineers at Boeing do that.
Well, I know.
He's an amateur.
But what you're saying though is
he did have
supporting what I'm saying even more because he's getting it to that point.
But there's a lot of people out there that can do that stuff. So
So just
because we can't do it, don't mean that it's going to be really hard.
But you have to have some type of education, even if you self-educate, to be able to get to that level.
But he's saying he went to these schools, though.
Right. I understand. What you're saying. What I'm saying is obviously he knows what he's talking about. Obviously he knows how to deal in propulsion. Obviously he owns his own laboratory.
Which if we read enough, a couple books about it, we'd know the general basics. He's not going out of the general basics, really. Well, I mean, mostly because we wouldn't understand if he did go out of the general basics.
But he can handle his own laboratory, so obviously
he's just selling stuff out of his laboratory. That's something different from
propulsion, even.
Yeah. Which you can be a science hobbyist to know a lot, and probably know more than a lot of people that get degrees in, just like any other subject.
But I mean, even I guess even maybe you're right. Maybe he did get caught up in a lie, and that's the reason he hasn't produced that. But just because he's lying about his education doesn't mean he's lying about everything.
That's true. But it kind of just
So how do you explain the
smear on him that?
How do you explain the things that he knew that are finally starting to come to light?
Like what, the tests? I can just say that there's tests going on now, like I said before, and
Well, the tests.
What about
are just
the
biometric thing?
Well, the whole interview process. Yeah. He knew, the whole interview process where the other company that actually did the hiring process for that. Yeah. He actually went through that.
But they don't know that
the hand scanner that that measured the bones in your hand and to get in. So like those things right there. A layman wouldn't know that. Somebody who didn't work there.
Yeah, you just read science fiction stories and see the hand things and stuff like that. It's not like everything rooted in modern science starts out in science fiction when you think about it. It's your imagination that has to go through and create these things in the future.
But the hand scanners are always like fingerprints.
I'm gonna go on TV tomorrow and say, I got this jetpack thing, and 20 years that they have commercial or resident hobby jetpacks, whatever. I'm like, I was right. Remember 20 years ago.
But what I'm saying is like I said, they go in and they'll do fingerprints and stuff like that. But to say something so specific as that it's measuring the bones.
But I mean, there's probably 1,000 hand scanners, wouldn't you say, like different kinds, like that are out there.
But he specifically
And one
said,
would
This
do
is
it
in
by
the
your
80s.
But he's-
Like,
yeah, but
specifically
I'm
said
saying like there are so many hand scanners out there. He got one right. You know what I'm saying? There's hand scanners you use, thumbprint, hands.
he got
got
one right,
one right.
at
He got-
Area 51.
at Area 51,
But
right?
I'm saying that there are like a billion types of hand scanners out there, and he
A
got
bi-
one of them right.
billion?
He said that was it. They don't know it was even made at Area 51. There's
No,
like no proof it was. It
Yes,
was.
that one's pulled from Area 51.
But
after
they don't-
after the B-50 or the stealth bomber thing.
The government's never even said that any of those things that came
Well,
from Area 51.
the government
That's just,
will never say anything.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
So it means
Yeah.
there's no way. It's all secondhand. There's no way of.
What killed
of
me? What
proving
killed
any
me
of this
is that,
stuff.
like in the first podcast, because I watched
Yeah,
it
yeah.
and listened to it, and I wasn't able to participate. But you said that if the government told you, then you would believe it. That just blew my mind. Like,
You gotta
the
have
government
proof.
is
You can't
not
just
going to
you
tell
can't
you
mindlessly
anything.
believe everything you hear from
Absolutely not.
every crackpot UFO guy. out
Without
there.
a doubt.
There's so many crackpot UFO guys.
Well-
Listen to Coast AM a lot. They're on there every night just spouting nonsense, and it makes like actual disclosure look like a joke.
Right.
And the government, major media, they all admit UFOs exist now. But no one really pays attention to it because it's all a big joke because you got these crazy people out here.
Well, because they throw out disinformation. They'll throw out disinformation and they'll trickle out truth.
Yeah,
And
but there's also
they'll
crazies
intermingle
out there.
the two.
Yeah.
They'll intermingle the two together. So you're like, it's up to you to believe.
Yeah, it's up to
Yeah,
you to believe. You can't
absolutely.
just believe
Right.
like the crackheads out there.
But
Like,
we're
But
not
Bob Lazar's
talking-
not a crackhead.
Right.
Like,
you,
we're
well,
talking
you don't
about-
know that he had a brothel and everything like that before, and
Brothers got to make that money.
yeah, which I'm not against that. I mean,
I
Yeah,
just think that I don't believe everybody, and I think it's just a weird situation because I think the fact of the matter is that most of us do believe Bob, and you're sticking to your guns, which is great because if you're right, then you're going to be able to hold it over all of
we'll never go enough. Any of us are
I
right.
still think
I
I
don't
still
think-
think that something else will come out.
Mhm.
I mean, you said okay, they took everything from this stealth bomber thing and they had the pictures
Yeah,
of
yeah.
it. So you got the biometric hand scanner that was involved in the stealth thing is exactly what he said it was. Like, yes, you're probably right. There's a lot of hand scanners in there, but the likelihood of him picking the exact one from Area 51 is pretty rare.
Let's say if there's a hand scanner, it would be able to tell the difference from you by either your fingerprints or the length of your hand. Like, look, or maybe the palm. There's only a few ways they could tell. Like maybe your palm, or your fingerprints, or the length of your fingers, or the bounds between your fingers.
Yeah,
it's
but
not a lot of
but
things.
once again, we're talking about the 80s where a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
this
yeah.
technology wasn't used. And he predicted that. He predicted the flight schedule. Those
Yeah.
are two weird things.
I
and
don't
then
think he's
you got the
predicting anything. Like,
Well, I know, but
yeah.
what I'm saying
I said the
is
flight
from-
schedule one's the one
from-
actually that's the good thing for him,
from
'cause it's-
David's perspective. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
Correct. Gotcha.
But and then the element, you're right. It does talk about the element weight. Maybe he had some type of insider information, but you're talking about three things that this man has predicted, 30 years ago. That's all came to pass.
Yeah.
So that's not just a crackpot.
But people say Nostradamus because he's got maybe something right
Well,
before
wait a minute
and stuff
now.
like
it's-
that. That's
you
not
can't compare
true.
those two because that's like the dude wrote like.
Well,
Psalm-
no, I'm not comparing
he-
him to. I'm saying from
he wrote-
prophetic people, and it's come true.
But
or
what they're
something
doing,
like that
what they're
here.
doing with Nostradamus is like they'll take what he
Yeah,
wrote
yeah, yeah.
and apply it to something,
That has nothing to do
50
with
years,
it.
100 years later. Like that has, you're right.
Yeah.
So that that has nothing to do with it. But and it, with the compartmentalization that he only knew these certain things.
Yeah, yeah.
And the only things that he knew are 100% correct. I don't see how you could say that he is not, like, he's not telling the truth. I don't see how you can.
I can't tell that he is telling the truth, and then so I have to go by like kind of like how he is or whatever, and it's like
Right.
I listened on the podcast, he didn't sound genuine, and then documentaries like I like to watch a lot of documentaries, but I don't.
Yeah.
They're always skewed to a certain way.
Of course, that's what.
I listened to the podcast. Have you ever listened to Serial podcast about, or is it Serial the one about the Ahmed guy who killed his girlfriend?
Serial.
Oh, you listened to
I
it though.
listened to it.
Like I really believe that guy was innocent. Then I was kind of reading up more about it, and I was like, no, that guy definitely.
Yeah,
he definitely did.
I don't know.
That's what I think.
I don't know. He's got way too many things working against him. So I actually thought after listening to the podcast
That he did do it. Yeah, see, I was the opposite. I
And
listened
now
to
there's
that,
a
and I was like, no,
documentary out on it.
Yeah,
on
the
HBO,
documentary
and I haven't
HBO.
seen it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what to believe about it. But I mean, I just think that things are going to continue to come to light, and I think eventually, Area 51 and S4 is going to be declassified. if Jerry's right and they have moved it out, then they're going to declassify it in our lifetime, probably.
I don't think so.
Not in our lifetime.
They keep pushing.
Usually 20
Was it?
years.
Oh yeah, listen to the CIA one on Joe
Mike
Rogan.
Baker.
Talking about he was talking about the disclosure stuff getting
Yeah.
pulled ahead.
Pushed
Like they
back.
said, like 2080, and then
Yeah.
well, Trump that happened with was it the JFK stuff? And,
Yeah, they still decided to keep some of it
Yeah.
blacked out.
yeah.
So,
Was it
I
the
mean,
president
maybe-
had the power to keep it? He did, but it
Yeah.
was only like redacted still or
well,
something.
the Martin Luther King one's supposed to come out next year.
Yeah.
Because they had his phone wiretapped for the FBI for years and years. I mean, maybe you're right. I just think that, if you look at the last 30 years after his story came out, there's been so much things that have came to light.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think that those continue
Yeah.
to come to light. And, I mean, he could be 100% a liar, but I thought he was genuine.
Yeah, I mean, I would want to believe him. I mean, I'm not like just going after, but I just don't feel.
I mean, we
Just
just,
doesn't set right.
we just don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
And I don't think
we're
we
all
ever
considering
will.
this as alien technology. This could be some type of scientist from Russia or Germany that built something that they found overseas, and then they brought it over here, and they found some type of advanced propulsion system, and they can't recreate it because that dude's dead now, or they
Well,
executed him after Nuremberg or whatever
Right.
it may be, and now they've got other people working on it. So we don't even know that's alien technology. That's just the assumption.
Could be
Yeah.
it could be German technology.
Yeah, could be German technology because
Right.
I think that there's a lot to, finding all of this big explosion of stuff after World War II. I think the Germans were far more advanced than us. I think we took all of that technology, we tried to reverse engineer it.
Mhm.
Now, whether they got it from aliens or not, because it's all in their Nazi folklore about aliens and all of the crazy things that they used to do to try to bring them out. I mean, that was on the chick from Area 51. Gosh.
I know. You read my book.
Yeah, read my book.
Read my book. I can't remember. her name.
But yeah, so that was on that. So it talked about all the crazy things that the Nazis used to do to try to bring that about. So I think that they're definitely advanced from us, and I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if some of those technologies weren't from them, that we were just trying to reverse engineer, that the easy narrative was that this was
Yeah.
alien.
That's true
So-
because they were into the big occult and trying to reach after the Holy Grail, the whole
Yeah. 9
yards there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And,
Yeah.
And
Ark
so
of the
back to what you were
Yeah,
saying
it's-
about the element was synthesized. It just hasn't
just-
been synthesized
Yeah,
to
yeah,
handle
yeah.
long
To
term
stable.
Yeah.
stabilization. So
right.
I mean, I think more is going to come out about it. I hope maybe we get some more feedback after this podcast where we can.
I haven't met any other skeptics. That just kind of worried me. I'm skeptic about like when I go into everything. But I mean, like I said,
And
I
it's
had someone
good.
the other day. They said, "Hey," he's like, I talked to a friend about it yesterday, and he was like, "Man, you're crazy."
Oh, yeah.
I think
I forgot about
it's
that.
definitely true.
Well, and I think you're in the vast minority in this, like, because even like some of the guests will talk about the Bob Lazar podcast, and like all of them seem to believe them too.
Yeah.
And it's just the Robert Oberst, the dude that
Yeah.
was on TV. He
Yeah.
said he thought he was genuine.
Absolutely.
So I just think it's
Yeah.
the way that David perceives him as far as what he believes, which is
you got to
you know-
think that like somebody as smart as him, like
Yeah.
doesn't have the personality like of somebody like dumb like myself. Like I've got all personality.
Well,
no
everybody's smart
intelligence.
in
You
different
don't-
ways, though, too.
Well, right. Some people are socially inept to where they're not, their intelligence is not as advanced as Bob Lazar's. So I think that Bob Lazar is like super smart, but like super like reserved and like introverted. So I think that's maybe where you're seeing that introversion come off to be like, oh, this guy's not genuine. But in all actuality, that's just his personality quirks. But
Probably, yeah.
we're getting close to 2 hours here, so
Is it really?
probably going to kind of cut everything off.
Let's
But
do
do you have any final thoughts or words about any of the stuff that's we've experienced today?
no, I think that I think that once stuff comes to light, I think
Once I
get
got
Dave.
you all riled up, you'll have a little bit better discussion.
I think that
I won't be mad if I'm wrong, though. I mean, it won't bother me.
I'm sure you want. I'm sure you want to be wrong.
Because I'd like to see proof of anything. Like I said,
Right.
it was awesome when Disclosure came out and found out UFOs are a real thing, and it's confirmed by media and confirmed by the government, confirmed by everybody.
Right.
Pilots.
But it's been a big joke for so long.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
like-
that no one
well,
really-
Just like what we talked about, how we started the conversation on hemp and how it was demonized. Like,
Yeah.
UFOs are demonized in a way that if you believe in them, oh, you're silly.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
You're
So
calm.
And that's what kind of bothers me about
Yeah.
because it's a real thing, and then there's people out there that are just crazy people, and
Right.
it makes it seem.
But we still don't know. So UFOs are real, but are they
aliens.
alien.
And that's the part that it's probably
because, man, I went to the Cincinnati museum, like the children museum, and it's got like right now they have the space thing because it's the anniversary for it. And I started watching this video, and it started like freaking me out so bad because they put everything into like space seconds or I'm sorry, light seconds, light minutes, light hours, light years. And you start looking at galaxies away, and you're like, okay, the light that I'm seeing from that galaxy is 60 million years old. So if you go back at 60 million years here, then there's dinosaurs here. And now I'm looking at a planet that there may be dinosaurs on or anything crazy.
They just recently found one that's potentially habitable 33 light years away.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you?
I saw that, yeah. Yeah, but
Like
they said that it
Earth.
might be frozen. Yeah. So,
Is that right?
but so you start thinking about that, thinking about alien that may have to travel here multi-million light years and have to bend time and space and all that stuff. And so I think maybe you ought to start from the bottom and kind of work your way up, which is I think we've done in the podcast. We haven't really talked about other planets or anything else like that because I think first we need to understand what's going on here on Earth to be able to understand anything else.
Maybe, but I think that like my final thoughts is that if we're to succeed as a civilization, we need to get off this rock.
Yeah,
We need to expand.
I agree with that.
Without a doubt.
maybe we were already a part of an expansion too. That's
true too.
Prometheus.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Any final thoughts from
Maybe
you?
we're the seeds.
No, I kind of just rambled on for a while.
I mean, I actually, I
it.
think that kind of, we need to talk about the ancient Sumerians because that kind of falls in line with that. A different civilization coming here, essentially cloning us. That's a very interesting topic because obviously the Sumerians were very in depth on what was going on in the universe and they knew that information. It's some way somehow.
Yeah.
But I believe in evolution, but I am still a little bit skeptical in one species evolving into another. And that's the first time I think I publicly said that, and I definitely need to look into it more because we weren't taught evolution in school or anything like that, opposed to like the moths that evolved and changed colors and things like that, which I 100% believe in. I believe that humans evolve, but changing one species to another is a whole nother question.
Well, it's millions and it's hard for us to grasp it. Millions and millions a year. Yeah, billions of years.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not something that because it's hard for me to even grasp how. Like,
Right.
when we were talking about watching the cosmos and, like, blows your mind when you're talking about the grain of sand and time and you're like, whoa.
And then it shows all the different planets and okay, and then all the different dimensions, and then by that time I was laying on the floor going, I don't want to watch anymore.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you all for tuning in. I think that hopefully you guys will share some of your stories in the future, and if you don't, we'll probably continue at least a certain extent of this topic, whether we talk about the ancient Sumerians or whatever it may be, and the fact that they had, solar systems that were completely correct, 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, long before we ever had telescopes. So a lot of different topic ideas. Really appreciate you tuning in. Dave's going to shut off the camera now, so sorry if he gets in your way, but we're poor and we don't have anybody to film. So, but check us out on YouTube, Double Axis Podcast. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram as well. That's where we'll share the links for that. Really important that you subscribe to the channel. That's the only way that we'll ever get monetized or continue to
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe and share and all of those
Definitely.
things. So, but we really appreciate it, and we will see you on the next go round. Next time we'll be back with another guest. So, see you guys later.
Peace.